Hello, everyone. So after my foul-mouthed outburst about the need for the the prelature of Opus Dei and the Church and the Pope not to make apologies, okay, well, you think, well, where do you go with that? Well, the obvious place to go, in my opinion, when you're getting ready to, you have this intention that you want to be sorry and do things differently. First of all, is just to say the truth, okay? Say the truth, um, without apologies, okay? So, when you have this situation with a teacher sometimes has to deal with two kids fighting. One of them says, "Did you steal their book?" Oh, say it. I stole their book. Okay. So you just have to say what happened. I stole their book. I was horrible to them. I said not mean things behind their back. I discussed their futures without and with other people without telling them. I made plans to pretend to be their friend. What other things might you say? Kind of apologies. I told them that they had to give me all their money. I said that I was their friend. I gave the impression that I was a nice person. Let me think. Um, I spoke about them behind their back. All these things. Um, I said that they would go to hell. Well, I gave that impression if they didn't do what I said. I acted like I was a god. So try those things. All those things. So if anybody in Opus Dei wants to start thinking about apology, just write down the facts, okay? The facts. And that can be hard. Somebody has been gone down the wrong road for a long, long, long time, okay? And doesn't matter how long that statement is, write down the facts. At some point you're gonna like want to generalize or skim over things, or just write what you can at that point. Don't force yourself. Don't get too stuck. Just keep going. Maybe make it chronological or somehow organize it so that you can break down the huge task into parts that are sensible. Probably chronological is a good idea because, you know, it might be good to start with things that happened right back when you first joined Opus Dei, you know, even things that weren't your fault, things that you were made to do. My director made me try to persuade somebody to join Opus Dei, because that will help you to empathize more with your victim later on. Because sadly, that's what happens in grooming organizations is that the groomers um, groom other people to become the next generation of groomers. So if you can have that sympathy and that understanding for yourself at the beginning and care and compassion for yourself at the beginning, that can help you to be more honest and brave further along the line when you had more autonomy, or when you did things without any asking anybody. So just have that idea of just a statement of truth, the truth as you see it, and then go back to the beginning again and start reading it. Read it out loud. See how it sounds to yourself. Are you trying to minimize something? Are you trying to excuse yourself? Are you trying to generalize? You're trying to half blame other people, trying to give reasons. Try not to give reasons. I think that's can be got a good idea. I did this because, okay, because the other person's going to think that sounds like an excuse. Okay, just what you did. Worry about the motives later, or even let God worry about all that because you know, um, how can you judge yourself? You can't really. So fearlessly write down everything, go over it, read it out, and start to correct it and write more. Um, be careful not to be too over scrupulous, excessive detail. Just get the main points down And sometimes you write a few things and you realize that actually you can categorize them later. So that's a nice thing if you can edit to categorize. So I told lies such as blah 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 blah, and then you give good illustrations of the types of lies. So so you've got one category lies, and you've got say three examples of types of lies, and then you don't need to write 20 lies. Okay, it might be good. You might start with the 20 lies, but remember you're gonna at some point want to communicate this to other people. Okay, and they just want to know that you understood that it was lies and the main types, and that's enough for them. They don't need to hear every single detail. But that's more of an editing job later on. Don't worry at the beginning. You'll get better at it as you keep doing it. Okay, and this is the same for the Pope and the bishops as well. Just think about every dealing you've had to do with Opus Dei, and start writing. Okay, and again, you'd have been coerced by Opus Dei people. You'd have been badgered by them. You'd have been intimidated by them. So I did this because. So I think actually maybe there's an exception for reasons. I did this because somebody made me do it. That's a very good reason. Okay, because then that other person has to be challenged on why they did that, because they might have forgotten. They might need to be reminded. Okay, so if it's definitely not your fault why you did something, then yes, definitely say it. So, yeah, so just write statement of truth, and you get better and better and better at it as you do it more, and it will be a huge burden that you start lifting from yourself. But that's not the point, really. I mean, obviously, it's partly the point. The main point is to produce a meaningful document to start the process of whatever form of reconciliation the other person wants. Start clearing your account, by saying what is in the account. Okay. Um, so this is the essence of honesty. We do that in speech a lot, but when it's really important, when the exploitation, when the coercion, when the terrible things are really serious and long term, then we need to do it more seriously. Probably in writing, if we're good at writers. If we're really bad writers, then ask somebody to help you, because I think it's going to be difficult to compare and work out things. And there can be later exercises down the line where you meet up with others and you compare your apologies and make sure they're consistent. But I would suggest that you spend a long time by yourself first. Okay, just you and God. And if it's too hard, then have a break. Okay, push yourself a bit, but not too much, so that you keep going, but you're not soft on yourself. Okay, and I promise that once you start, you will the floodgates will open, and you will think, you will start to feel cleansed, and you will start to understand and empathize better with people, and you will make everybody's life much much easier. Um, at some points, you might think about consequences. Well, what if I say that? That could mean that person has to pay money, or that person could be in trouble. You know, just put it down anyway. Put it down anyway. So if you're really in panic mode, then just leave that for a while. Maybe think about some other area where you can come back. Make a note so you don't forget to come back to that area. Okay, but don't try too hard when you can't. Don't use your will to overcome your inhibitions. That's the ultimate problem we've all had, really, is somebody using their will to overcome us, and then us using our will to overcome ourselves. That's the root of all evil, really. So thank you for listening.